When you see the whole world shaking and you feel your heart is breaking, take my hand, no hesitating. Oh, when you're just so tired of trying, all alone you feel like hiding. Together we'll keep fighting. There's no stopping us. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. Don't stop now. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna mountains too high we can climb it. Fearless, we're taking the moment. There's no stopping us. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. Can you see the sun is shining like a new hope? Feel it rising, coming over the horizon. There's no stopping us. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. Don't stop now. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna mountains too high we can climb it. Fearless, we're taking the moment. There's no stopping us. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. Don't you give up, don't you give up on me. Don't you give up, don't you give up now. Don't you give up, don't you give up on me. Don't you give up, don't you give up now. Don't you give up, don't you give up on me. Don't you give up, don't you give up now. Don't you give up, don't you give up on me. Don't you give up, don't you give up now. There's no stopping.
Good evening. It's Saturday, May 14th. It was kind of between a cloudy day, then the sun came out, and now it looks like it's cloudy again. Hopefully, we're coming to an end of this rainy period. I think tomorrow's supposed to be nice, and the rest of the week will warm up as we get closer to Memorial Day weekend and the beginning of the summer season. Um, just one note, I went for my second booster this week, me and my wife. And I was going to wait to the end of summer because it seems that the the amount of infections go down during the summer, and then as we go back inside, as the fall comes and the cooler weather, and um, and it seems to go back up again. But this has been an increase in infection rates. So we decided just to get that booster now. Um, you know what's happening, and just this little side note, I think people, I was eating out at a fast food restaurant, not like a McDonald's, but it was something else. And I noticed, like, sitting down at the table, the tables were still a little scuzzy. We see the ketchup is dried ketchup on it. So all these precautions we took during the pandemic, which were good, seem to have stopped. And maybe we should still be doing it to a certain degree, not maybe being fanatical, but we still have to be a little bit careful. But the people who are getting sick, as long as they have been vaccinated, it hasn't been situations where, in most cases, they have gone to the hospital and, taking further medical, careness of it, a little bit more involved. So it's been just like, I got it, I really don't have any symptoms, but I proved positive, and now I'm quarantined. But and we could all, many of us could still have some of this disease, but it's not as noticeable now because of the vaccination. So maybe we're erring on the side of precaution by still quarantining some people, but I really believe that the vaccines and the boosters help because again, uh, if you get it, it seems not to be that bad. All right, let me go into the introduction. I was going to talk about some other things happening this week, but since I went a little bit further with that, I'll go into uh, today's topic. All right, so we're going to talk about mortgage rates, which has been one of the leading articles and news reports in the media because they have gone up quite a bit. A little over a year ago, we were dealing with 3%, a little below 3%, 2.875, and now we're about 5.6. So that's a big difference within a year's time. Okay, it's not like it went from 3 to 3.5, or even stopped at 4. Now we're over 5, and we're approaching 6. So that is a pretty big issue. All right, because as we're going to learn, it's going to begin to knock people out of the homes that they had wanted. If they waited for a home and let's say it was $300,000 and they were pre-qualified for that $300,000, now it might be worth, well, with the mortgage rates going difference, that payment, okay, and then examples that we'll be giving, they give that the buy has been approved to a payment between $2,100 and $2,200. But we're going to find out now that maybe, not maybe, it has happened that with the higher rates, now their monthly mortgage payment is above that amount. And now they cannot qualify for that house with things being as they are. Okay? So let's go right to our text and let's bring it up here. And I go to the little slide over there. And so how today's mortgage rates impact your home purchase. So if you're planning to buy a home, it's critical to understand the relationship between mortgage rates and your purchasing power. Now, we use the term purchasing power a lot too when we talk about economics, how much your dollar could really buy, how much you could buy. Purchasing power is the amount of home you can afford to buy that's within your financial reach, okay, your eligibility, what your mortgage loan officer is saying that you could pay. Anything above that, they're not going to give you the mortgage. So mortgage rates directly impact the monthly payment you'll have on your home you purchase. So when rates rise, so does monthly payments. You're able to lock in your home loan. In a rising rate environment like we're in today, that could limit your future purchasing power. Now, just a little note about locking in your rates. I double checked with my loan officers. And of course, you cannot lock in a rate until you have a ratified contract. All right. You can't say to your loan officer, okay, I'm going to be looking for a home in the next couple of months. Can you lock me in at whatever, if it's 5.6 and you don't want to go higher, if you can lock me into that rate, if that's the best rate today, you cannot do that until you have a ratified contract. All right, so that's the first step. And here's between the 30-year fixed rate mortgage is above 5%. All right, and about a year ago was, like I said, like 3% and lower. So that's a big difference. And experts are saying that it will likely go up in the months ahead. Okay, so we expect it to go even higher. Now, you may have a daily change, let's say it's 5.6, and within the last couple of weeks, we've had the stock market go down a lot, and it brought down the rates, okay, for a certain time period. They went maybe below 5.6. But that's kind of like a daily thing. But what we see, and if you have a contract and you can lock it in at 5.4 where it was 5.6, that's a good thing. But we still see the way things are going that these mortgage rates will go up even higher throughout this year. So in the chart below, they're showing someone who has been approved for a monthly mortgage payment of $2,100 to $2,200 range. All right, so let's go down to the chart here. And let's start to the far right, okay? Let me see if I can still use my pen here. Okay, would that work? Okay. Oh, no, that's doing me. Is that my highlighter? Here's my highlighter. Okay, let's start over here. All right. And let's use a house that's $360,000. Okay. So let's say a few months ago, you went to your loan officer, and it's so important to get that pre-approval first. And they said, yeah, you could afford a house up to $2,200 with a monthly mortgage payment of $2,200. So with this house, that's $360,000, and let's say you went about 5 months ago, and this was the current mortgage rate, 4.75. You could afford it, and actually, with it going up to 6%, you're still in that range, right? It's still under 2,200. But let's look if that house price goes up to 380. Okay, so right off the bat now, okay, you have at the 4.75, you have a higher rate. Okay, the price went up. Okay, but if you wait any longer, because we're at 5.6, and maybe in the middle of the summer will be at 6.6%, and now that monthly payment is $2,278. Well, now you're knocked out of it. Okay. Now we're looking at it both ways. I'm giving you an example with the house payment going up and with the mortgage rates going up. Let's say you saw a house that's at $400,000. Okay. So now let's say when you first saw it, and maybe you saw it 5 months ago, you were still in that range. But once it went past 5%, now you might still get it at this $2,209. That's only $9 above. All right, but you see as it goes up, and let's say in a couple of months it's at this amount, or the rates are at 5.75. Now you are no longer able to afford that house. Now, there are ways to work it out. Okay. Let's see, we're just down a little bit here. there are ways that you could work around it. And when I say work around it, we talked about it in earlier podcasts where you could either buy down the rate, okay, but you're going to need some more cash to buy down the rate. And I'm not going to go into because there's a formula involved with that. It might be a couple $1,000s. Again, it's depending about how much you're buying it down. All right. So this is here where you still need a certain amount of cash saved up. Um, well, you're definitely going to need it for your closing costs because it's not a buyer's market, it's still a seller's. So you're probably going to have to pay most of your closing costs. And depending on what type of loan you're getting, if it's FHA, you're going to have to put down 3.5%. So you'll need money for that. But you might have to, once these rates go up, you may have to buy down that rate. So you're going to need more cash. All right. So that's another way to go about it. Now, you can also find out if there are any grant programs out there that you could use. If you could get the grant program to take care of your down payment, you could use that money to buy down your rate even more, and use it for your closing costs. All right. There's also in Virginia, we have the VHDA program. It's for first-time home buyers, and they will allow you to finance your down payment on your house, so you don't have to put that cash down. And if your credit is really good, and you have to still check with your mortgage loan officers, these things are changing. Um, you may also get a loan for like 102%, 103%. It would also cover your closing cost. All right. So there are some situations where you could work around, or if you can't afford that present rate, that you could get some sort of assistance. Now, just one more thing about first-time home buyers. It doesn't mean that once you buy a house and you're getting ready to buy your second, you're no longer a first-time home buyer. If you had a house, you sold the house, and I believe it's 3 years have to be passed, you're then considered to be a first-time home buyer. So it's not like where you've never, or you've owned the house and you can no longer get it, or you had the house, all right, and you could become a first-time home buyer again if you wait about 3 years after you sold the house, right? And you could take advantage of a 100% financing program, or there are grants for people who are first-time home buyers. Okay, speak to your mortgage loan officer on that. Right, that's a good thing. Now, to bring some positive to this, and again, I've highlighted getting approved, and I think almost every podcast I do, I always talk about getting pre-approved, because that's one of the hardest things I have to do with my buyers is to get them pre-approved. They just want to look at homes, and they would love for me to take them out to see a bunch of homes. I will only show one home. If you're not pre-approved, I would just show you one home just to meet you, to talk to you, to go. But I'm not going to show you more than one home unless I know you've been pre-approved. All right? Because we want to make sure that you're able to buy your house now. Because otherwise, you're wasting your time. And in the sense, and it might sound mean, but you're wasting my time as well. All right? This is a commission-based business, real estate. We don't get a base salary. So I only make money, and only other real estate agents make money when they close on the deal. Okay? We only get paid then. So, I have a lot of wonderful people who are clients, and they haven't been pre-approved yet. And, It'd be nice spending a day with them, showing them a bunch of houses. But in the long run, I'm going to be eating cornflakes because they haven't been pre-approved yet. And not only to find out if you're able to be pre-approved, but then you want to know that price range. I might be showing you homes that are completely out of your price range. So that's why it's so important to get that pre-approval. You really want to hone in. When you start looking for a house, you really want to be like a laser, right? To know exactly what your price range is, know what you have to do if it's a little bit higher than your price range, and just know all the different options. But going in there blindly is the worst thing you could do. All right, it's better to be prepared. And even so, in a situation where maybe you're not going to be pre-approved at this moment, but the loan officer will give you advice on how to quickly raise your credit score. All right. And it's not through any fancy or being malicious or deceivious. It's not anything like that. Like, I remember years ago, people were getting other social security numbers. It's not anything like that. They know what credit lines report faster to the three main credit reporting bureaus. And they also have formulas where, if let's say you have outstanding credit card $2,000, they say, well, if you make a payment, if you could bring that balance down to, let's say, $1,400, you pay down six, that will raise your credit score by these amount of points. So that's what you want. All right. So you don't want to go into it willy nilly and trying to do it on your own. Let them advise you. All right. So you could more quickly be eligible to purchase a home. So I wanted to bring this up here, just a kind of good news, I think. And I hope I did this right. No, I didn't do this right. No, okay. Where's my thing here? All right. The market is shifting. Here's exactly why. Three economists predict competition in the housing market will decline. All right. Now, even though the raising of the mortgage rates is not a happy thing, right? Because you're going to be paying more in a monthly payment. But what it's going to do, it's going to cut out a lot of competition. All right. Let me give you an example of a car. It's like you have a decent car, it works good, but all of a sudden you see a great sale on and with all different manufacturers of cars or dealerships, and you say, hey, that's a good price on a car. It's a low interest rate on a loan. I'm going to go buy a car, even though I really don't have to. But hey, I'm going to take advantage of it. And you have more car buyers in the market, right? But now it goes up. The prices are going up on the cars. The interest rates on the loans are going up, and now people are saying, well, my car is pretty decent. I really don't need a new car. It's working, it's getting me from point A to point B. And I'm going to leave the car buying market right now. All right. So what's happening now with the higher rates and the higher home prices, there's a segment of that pool of buyers that, they entered because the rates were so good, but it's going up. They haven't purchased a house yet. They go, you know what? My house is fine. I'll take the money that I saved up. I'll renovate the bathrooms, the kitchens. I'll put down new floors. I'll make my present home really nice. So a segment of that population is leaving. All right. So it's knocking down the competition. So you have then the people who really need to purchase. All right. And even those who, when I say need, sometimes we think about people who are on a job transfer or they're getting transferred to the military to another part of the country. But then you have people who for a long, long time have been paying rent and they just are sick and tired of it. They're not building up any equity. It's all money going out the door. And they're saying, but I really want to buy something. It's time for me to buy my own house. I don't like the rental community I'm in. It's too crowded, whatever the reason. All right. And that could be a real reason why you need to move. So these mortgage rates going up is actually kind of helpful for that situation. And what will happen, and when I say this part here, I don't want my bias to wait to the end of summer, but this one of the comments agrees that by the end of summer, there will be lower competition among buyers on listings, as well as more housing on the market. Okay. And I also believe that too. I mean, at the beginning of the podcast, I said the numbers are going up higher again with people who have COVID, but it doesn't seem to be the very serious COVID, the very deadly COVID. And one of the reasons why we had such a shortage of listings is because people did not want a whole bunch of people walking through the house who may have COVID-19. Right, this is especially for the people who are still living in their homes, right? They haven't moved yet, so they didn't want this. So they said, we'll wait. But a couple of weeks ago, we were told that we were in the endemic. I'm praying that it's still happening, and that because we still need listings, no matter what, we still need more listings. So hopefully, as we're into spring now, we're going into summer, that will open up. But there's also what they call the hot migration destinations, cities like Tampa, Phoenix, Nashville, and Atlanta, where you still have a lot of people going. All right, they're decent sized cities. There's lots to do, and there's corporations going out there, and no matter what, even with the rising of the interest rates, these are still the areas where you'll still have a lot of competition. So also it talks about it's unlikely that home prices will fall significantly. I think the only sense as competition goes down, you will have people. I mean, the reasons why homes sold for so much more because of the competition. So people bid more and more and more. And once that house closes, okay, that people bid maybe 10,000 over the asking price, that becomes new comp for other homes. But it's very possible with the less competition, people not going over that asking price, and it will stay kind of level. And the areas where it went much too high, and there's now less competition, you might see some prices, some closings, which might be a little bit less than some comps that were recently sold. It's a possibility. So we have that to look forward to. I know it's kind of, you might be saying, well, I got to pay so much more for my mortgage, but there's good and bad, right? There's yes, you would have to pay more, but if you've been, I have a lot of people who have held back because of the competition, and they're sick and tired of fighting with all these other buyers for a home. So, because of the higher rates, you may have less competition, and you could close faster. Yes, you will have a higher mortgage payment, but hopefully, with the economy being strong, you're making more money, and it will not be as a hit to your wallet or your pocketbook as it might have been a couple of years ago. Okay? So with that in mind, we have to show a little video on that, why it's a good time to list your home right now, okay? Because we need those listings. So the main message with that video is that homeowners now have a lot more equity in their house because of rising home prices. So if they are considering moving up to a larger home, um, it's a good time now to list that, and you could put down a nice size down payment. Okay, we're talking about mortgage rates being higher, but you're selling your home, and you have a nice chunk of money to put down, so your monthly mortgage payment will not be that high. Okay, because you're not financing as much money. Okay, so that's a good thing. So for my people who are homeowners and are waiting to sell, it's a good time to sell. Okay, all right. So I'm hearing from my producer William that we have well, at first it's a famous uh, composer, a singer, a pop music, and their dance ensemble. So what's really going on there, William?
Great news. We have Selma Celebrity in the audience as well as her dancers. She was an American soul music singer and songwriter of West Indian heritage. She is best known for her novelty hits The Nitty Gritty, The Name Game, and The Clapping Song. The Clapping Song sold over 1 million copies and was awarded a gold disc. Ladies and gentlemen, the Nitty Gritty Dancers.
Well, it was nice seeing them in the audience there. Thanks a lot, William, and thanks the Nitty Gritty Singers and the lady who wrote it. I'm glad you stopped by. So that's today's show. Oh, again, because I'm turning this into a podcast, I'm Chris Gargiulo, associate broker for eXp Realty, and this is Real Estate with Mr. G. And you could see my articles on realestatewithmrg.blog. And then when you're ready to search for homes, let me see if I can still get it up here. Let's see here. And you could go to my website where you realestatewithmrg.com where you could search for homes or get your home value. Okay. So we'll see you next week. Remember, if you haven't gotten the second booster yet, maybe it's a good idea to get it. Be kind to each other. And remember, the greatest power we have is to love, and the greatest gift is each other. And we'll see you next week.